Hello, happy Wellness Wednesday. Super grateful to be here. Today we're going to be focusing on an important subject, which is how to stay healthy in the next 6 to 8 weeks. When it comes to celebrations, having fun, how do you stay healthy? And I am excited to share some little tidbits of positive information with each and every one of you. My name is Robin Lee. I am a medical intuitive and very excited to help support you. I've been in practice for over 32 years and teach people all over the world how to be able to keep their body in a state of vitality and wellness, feeling connected, feeling strong and healthy. And a lot of it's based on the choices that we make, both on a physical level of our habits and also the emotional habits and patterns that we hold. So that being said, I want to get started. So it's very common to hear the statement cold and flu season. And sometimes I'll even post with the statements of cold and flu season. But the truth is it's not necessarily a cold and flu season, or let's look at what causes it to be cold and flu season. So most people during the next 6 to 8 weeks are around a lot of family members that they don't normally see. There's a lot of obligatory things that people feel like they have to participate in. And sometimes it can be pretty darn stressful during the holiday seasons. People oftentimes eat a bunch of foods they don't normally eat. Oftentimes sugar is a lot more in their diet. Alcohol is a lot more in their diet. They notice that their social life is more cramped and congested. But at the same time, they also notice that what happens is self-care, exercise, getting fresh air, that awesome habits of our normal routine start to kind of go downhill. It's very, very common that people will gain anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds during the holiday season. That's something that I really want you to think about because, again, our actions affect us. So I personally don't love putting out there or thinking, oh my gosh, it's cold and flu season, I have to protect myself. But at the same time, understanding your personal lifestyle, the question is how much do you want to or need to support yourself to stay healthy, in alignment, and vital this holiday season. So as you noticed, one of the first things I shared was the stress sometimes of being around family that we're not used to spending as much time with. So as we go through the holiday season, it's really important to pay attention to this really important question, which is, what's the experience that you're actually wanting to have? And when you start thinking about it, for example, maybe you want to see your family, maybe they want you to come for a week. You have to, before you commit to something, think about asking yourself the question of, what is it that I actually want to experience while I'm with them? And in that, it's not about all or nothing. It's not about black or white. It's about allowing yourself to pay attention to organically what's in your best interest to help you get the outcome that you're actually looking to get for yourself. So for example, if all of a sudden you're thinking, okay, this feels really stressful, the possibility is the amount of time you're going to be traveling to see that person. Maybe you've congested your schedule with doing too many things. Maybe you cut your trip down shorter. Maybe instead of staying in the house with a person, maybe you make a different choice. And you might be thinking, yeah, it's a good concept, but I don't want to make people mad. Well, it's understandable, but just understand then with that, there are a lot of things that start to come up. And at some point, I think we have to realize the actions that we choose allow us to show up as the best person that we can show up in a situation or not. So if you're living your life based on trying to make people happy, this is a great skill set to start practicing, and the holiday season can be a really good opportunity to do that. I understand not wanting to ruffle people's feathers. I understand that a lot of holiday focus is on tradition. It's important to make sure the tradition settles well with you inside, because a lot of work that we do in therapy, a lot of work that we do in general in the healing process is about looking at where these habits, these beliefs, these lifestyle choices actually came from. So a lot of it's actually about breaking what's been handed down and creating something that feels really, really good to us. So that's one piece. Another piece is so often we like to do the same thing year after year after year after year, which could be a tradition. It could also just be a habit. So it's very common for me to hear as I'm working with people on the phone, they'll talk about how stressed something feels. And I'll ask why. And it's because it's so much responsibility, it's so much pressure, but they've done it all the time. They've done the whole holiday meal all the time. So we problem solve when we look at, well, how could we make this in a more joyful state? How can we create more joy? Because this is a thing, if you're wanting to keep your immune system on a higher level of functioning, it's important that you can breathe and enjoy the situation that you're in. If you're not in a situation that you're really creating joy for yourself, and you're feeling restricted and you're feeling tight and you're feeling like you can't really have breathing room because you're so stressed or anxious or whatever, how could that not impact your immunity? I shudder inside when I hear people feel afraid of their environment and how it will affect their health. Because again, this is based on what you say yes to or no to, and allow yourself to make different choices to have better and better and better outcomes. So if, for example, it's stressful thinking of having a holiday meal, but it's exciting to have all of your family together. What is it that you love doing in that holiday? And what parts of it do you actually truly love? And where can you delegate and ask for help and not be afraid to do it different? Imagine being a creator of joy for yourself and for your family and inspiring change and inspiring things that genuinely create joy. It's a really beautiful thing to think about. And the more that you give yourself space to keep thinking, it's not all or nothing. It's not how other people want it to be. It's considering other people, of course, but in the end, it's what would create the experience that I want, because that's the only thing that you and I are personally responsible for. So people will ask me what the biggest stressor is on the immune system. That's the hugest thing that I consistently see. Then of course, from a point of immunity, we're in big parties maybe, or we're having big family events and somebody's showing up sick. Of course, that's not going to help. So I highly recommend people taking a couple of things to help boost their immunity when they know they're going to be in events, when they know bigger things are going on. Take stuff to help boost your immunity. If you aren't clear on what those things are, you can follow in my bio over on Facebook, over on Instagram. We're consistently posting stuff to help you all stay strong and balanced. There's some very good herbal supports out there and some really good things that you can do to genuinely boost your immunity. So definitely help to do that. One of the biggest stressors of the immune system overall is a high sugar content. Consistently, viruses love sugar, in case you didn't know that. So it's not saying don't have it, but be mindful of how much sugar and how much processed food you're actually consuming. If you are going to a potluck, can you please do this as a favor for yourself? Although there is all kinds of amazing, awesome holiday recipes, again, I'm not saying don't eat them, but I would love you to think from a perspective of, if you're going to contribute and you're wanting something, why don't you take something healthy that's a fun, festive, healthy treat for yourself to share with other people, because a lot of people will be inspired by that in your situation. If it's something that people might not know what it is, maybe make a little note and put it up there so people do know. For example, I often take a charcuterie board, or I'll take a vegetable dip kind of thing to be able to have that as a basis of when I go, because I never know what parties and stuff are going to have. And that's something that gives me the opportunity to be able to make sure I have a great serving of vegetables and some awesome dip. And I do that, and I still have snacks of other things, but I try to make the basis of that happen. If it's a later party, I make sure to have a nice, light, balanced dinner before. That way I'm not even hungry when I go there. The idea is, how am I nurturing myself and how do I want to feel? I like waking up with energy. I don't like that feeling of being kind of dull and quiet and tired and blah days after a party. That's just not my thing. And it's something too that in the long run, when it comes to immunity support, it's something really important that you do learn if you are a holiday cheer person going out party after party. It's a good reminder that that's the lifestyle for weeks at a time. If you keep that lifestyle up for weeks at a time without creating some kind of positive balance for yourself, I would like you just to acknowledge that if you happen to get the flu or the cold or the virus going around, please understand it's not that there's anything wrong with your body. It's just your body gets overwhelmed. And when your body gets overwhelmed, it doesn't have the internal resources to fight off viruses, colds, flus, stuff like that. On a food basis, so limiting sugars and processed food in general is critical to keeping immunity up. The other thing that's really important, especially if you drink alcohol and caffeine, to keep immunity up is making sure you're getting that 80 to 100 ounces of water in a day. Think of it like this. A virus comes in, something happens into the system. If you're able to keep flushing it consistently enough, of course, it's going to probably move through your system faster than if it's in this congested environment. And if you're hearing the rest of what we're talking about, if you're not eating as much sugar and you're not eating as much processed foods, again, viruses love sugar. They attach to them and they can grow pretty darn quickly. So if you're watching a balanced process and taking accountability for that, it's quite remarkable what will happen and how you can support yourself. I'm very social, so oftentimes during the holiday season, I pick one processed thing that I can do in that particular day, and the rest I do keep my diet pretty clean and pretty on track, because for me, I work on the phone, and the second that I get a cold or a flu, I've actually not ever really gotten the flu, so if I get a cold, which doesn't happen often, because I figured this kind of stuff out, sometimes I'll be out of work for a week, right? Because my voice gets really affected. My vocal cords get very affected. So I just really want you to understand that you don't necessarily want to surrender to, this is cold and flu season and I'll probably get sick. It's, wait, what makes that happen? And of course, there's more of this viral energy and bacteria and stuff out in the world, and you're going to be around it in a more congested place. You're going from places that have really hot environment, which can breed this stuff faster as well, right? So instead of oh gosh, I got to stay away from it, how do I create joy for myself? I limit my stress. I drink lots of water. I try to limit how much processed foods that I actually consume. I eat and I take healthy snacks and food with me when I go to these kind of events. And it's okay if it's not like the power hit out of nowhere. Make it cute. I make them look like a Christmas tree. I make it look like a wreath. Again, come follow me on the other social media channels so you can see some of the cool stuff that we post from a point of allowing yourself to be curious and to learn how to show up in a balanced way, so that also you're not gaining more weight and then feeling kind of frumpy, that then January 1st, you do that whole thing where people, all of a sudden are really focused on health and wellness. This is a consistent thing every year that we're doing. So we might as well learn how to keep into a better level of harmony with our overall body, mind, and spirit in this actual holiday season. Social pressure can be a big one. Family pressure, expectation can be a big one. I understand not wanting to create conflict, ruffling feathers, but the outcome, if it doesn't settle well for you, that is what healing is all about. And it's learning how to find that gray neutral area of support, how to hear other people, but also how to acknowledge yourself at the same time and use that and work with that together. That becomes healthy boundaries and how we really do work in harmony and balance in the holiday season. I wanted this to launch before, Christmas and December actually hit in, to get you guys a little ahead of the curve. So I'm curious, and please post below, what are your weak links in the holiday season that you feel like do affect you in a negative way, that feel like they do challenge your immune system overall? People will say sleep a lot of the time, and sleep is one of those things that obviously is very, very important, but it's also compounded with all these other things we're talking about. So maybe you can find a good stress release, like a good stress vitamin to help support you with stress. Again, come and I'll share with you what I would recommend over on those social media channels. Good immune system support for a day or two before you're going to be with a bigger group of people. Some people will alternate them all throughout the whole holiday season, different immune boosting things. Do something to support that, but don't let that be your only thing you do, because in alternative medicine, we want to make sure that you're looking at lifestyle choices, that you're not using like herbs and supplements as just medicine to cover up these kind of things. Holistic medicine is about looking at lifestyle and how we can create harmony with our lifestyle, and sometimes changing parts of our lifestyle to be able to to connect in at a better level with ourselves, to heal, to keep us at a higher level of vitality, and to allow us to really know that we can create joy and we can create holidays more special than we've ever had before, because you are unique. What you like, what you want, what brings you joy is unique. How can you create more joy this holiday season? And we can talk about that on another awesome Wellness Wednesday. Thank you so much for showing up here with me today. I love being able to see you every week. And please say hi below. I want to see where you're coming from in the world. I want to be able to connect in with you and get to know you. All right, big hugs.